John Richie. I'm the director of the film 91%. 91% is a documentary that's about gun policies in the U.S. with a focus on background checks. What it does is it looks at the whole recent history as far as what's gone on with the background check legislation, about the failure of Congress to actually pass a universal background check, and then it quickly goes from there into looking at like as far as normal people like your neighbors, or people that are like your neighbors or yourself, and that have been affected by shootings that had there been a comprehensive background check, that it could have been avoided. And so it's looking at the issue of gun policies from a public health standpoint, which is where the conversation really belongs in the first place. You know, the title of the film is 91%, and that comes from a poll that came out shortly after Newtown, where it said that 91% of Americans were for background checks on all gun sales. And even with a you know, a consensus like that or a mandate, Congress still did not pass a universal background check. And so the reason that we focus on that law is because, you know, as everybody knows, as far as the issue, as far as gun policies in the United States, is very polarizing, or is very, you know, people have very strong opinions on both sides. But that tends to be a part of the issue that everyone agrees with, and yet you still don't see any kind of movement from Congress. And so that's the reason why we focus on background checks and not look at any of the rest of the laws. This isn't an issue that people are too polarized on. This is something that people see as far as the value, as far as in doing background checks. You know, just to be able to check to make sure that a person isn't, you know, doesn't have a violent history, or that they haven't been, you know, incarcerated for a violent crime. And so I think that, but I think that, you know, if you were to look at what the media sometimes does, and what, like, especially lobbyist groups, they try to make it seem like we're more divided on this issue than we really are. I think that it's important part of that, or important part of that aspect of the film. It brings clarity to what is the truth and what needs to happen. And I think that the only way that you can get any kind of movement when it comes to things like policy is for people to have a consensus on what needs to be done, and that's what I kind of hope the film will do. We've done two, like, as far as test screenings in Louisiana. One of them was in Lafayette. We were invited to come up there and do one because, and like, this was in the wake of that mass shooting, the theater shooting that happened over the summer. What was interesting about that screening is that, you know, Lafayette is a very traditional, it's a fairly conservative traditional town as far as their way into hunting, their way into, like, as far as like outdoor, you know, sports and stuff, and their politics are very conservative. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that it was well received there, and there was one lady who is a hunter that actually said that she appreciated the film because she felt like it was that it was a nonpartisan look as far as on this issue. You know, that wasn't necessarily my intention as far as when I went out to make the film, but also at the same time I think that it's great that some people are viewing it that way.